Okay, all today I'm hoping to start to figure out the real or a more game accurate representation of the vultures jumping here. So if you look at them flapping, one thing is they kind of default to wings up. Every time they flap, it goes down, and every jump they do doesn't. It's not like our jump where we actually kind of gain a significant amount of height if we do it, fairly regularly. They kind of have to flap a lot more times in order to go upwards. So I'm just gonna watch this again and see if I notice anything interesting about when the vultures are choosing to jump. They don't really jump off of a platform. Uh-oh. No, maybe they do. Yeah, they do. I just noticed that one of the vultures kind of had a top collision with another vulture, and instead of side colliding, it just kind of fell right through the bottom, which I definitely don't have implemented. But I don't know how I would do that. So it looks like, that was a little bug. It looked like, that makes me feel better about my little bugs. Okay. So yeah, it seems like it's just random, but it's almost like there's two different random values, and if we're already in the air, it's more likely to flap. But if they're walking, it's a little less likely to flap. I feel like when they're walking, well, you know what? I really can't tell. Maybe let's just start and see where we get. So right now, the logic goes something like this. Oh, let's see, where is it? Here. Where do we set this self-jumping? Here. So we have, right now, it's acting like jumping is a Boolean flag. And if we are jumping, we're gonna give our dy a little boost upwards. It's probably too much of a boost upwards. It probably needs to really be like negative 0.1. But then I'm saying, so this is a way of saying that if we are jumping, we give ourselves the dy and then we stop jumping, which we're just gonna have to do differently because we need to be able to flap the downwards. And if we're doing this where self-jumping gets false, then the flap animation can't trigger because jumping is false if we do it like that. So shit, guys. So last night I got maybe like 2 hours of sleep. Yeah, because it was, I worked, pulled an all-nighter editing basically. I took a little nap during the day, but I'm really not feeling it today, so I'm just gonna see if I can do anything. But honestly, this implementation, I've been kind of scratching my head over. But let's think about what needs to happen. So right now we have it where we have it controlled by a jump timer. And that jump jump counter. And I'm saying that the jump counter is getting a random value. So either every 2 or 3, yeah. So like this is 2 seconds because jump counter will get assigned 2. Then it gets decremented by delta time. Then as soon as that's less than 0, we're gonna set our flag. And then we're gonna set a random seed, which I think we did last episode, and I think it's making a difference. So they're not jumping all the same. And then we're reassigning our jump counter to be another random. But we need this differently. We need our jump to be a lot less upwards velocity for them, but we need to jump a lot more often. So it's almost like if we have this jump counter, let's give it a couple values, this idea, it's like this math.random will pick one value of this. So if we just give it a mix of values, a lot of which are lower, but then some of which are like, maybe, I really don't know if this will work, but then maybe we have like a 2-second one, or a 1-second one and a 2-second one. Or then we have a 2-second one and a 3-second one. Basically, we want a lot more ones, I'm pretty sure. Because we want a lot of the times for it to be flapping kind of really fast. So if we change our jump counter to be heavily biased towards really flapping fast and only a little bit biased towards flapping a little bit, there's a 1 in however many, 12 or whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. There's a 2 in 13 chance, about a 1 in 7 chance that it won't flap right away. Like it'll take 2 or 3 seconds. And then we need to say also make our jumping be like a -0.1 instead. So we'll see if this changes it. So we're looking to be, I should have showed you guys what our logic was beforehand, but it's been in the other episodes. 0.1. 0.1. But yeah, we're hoping our vultures and another one. I'm hoping our vultures now are flapping a lot faster than they were last episode. I'm not really seeing them do the, oh, you know what, they are. They are. They're not really landing, huh? So we need to set, we need to do, it looks like they wiggle. Why does it look like they wiggle? That, sometimes they look like they wiggle. Oh, see, look, when they're facing left, they kind of wiggle. When they're facing right, no, because that one just stopped wiggling. This isn't what I was hoping for. They're just slowly rising to the top. Okay. Well, we need to do another thing. So before we wipe our... How do we do that? I'm trying to set our sprite. If our jumping is true on that frame, set it with like the downward flap, right? The viewport for the downward flap. Shoot, man. Okay, let me see. So look, we'll put it back to like what it was, which was like 2 or 3 or whatever it was, 2 and 3, and we'll see if they're jumping a lot less often. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're still getting that weird shifting when they're facing left sometimes, but not all the times. See, like that one is. 3 was just there, but 2 there is fine moving left. So I'm not exactly sure what that's about. But how do we put the viewport so that if we're jumping? Oh, I know what to do. So easy. Here. So let's figure out what frame our downwards flap is, which looks to be like the last one. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. Our 7th frame is our flappity flap. So I'm actually going to take the code we have down here. Okay, so when we set our true, jumping gets true. Now so this jumping doesn't get set to false until where? Jumping gets false here, but if we set our viewport before that, then we would need to reset our viewport upon aerial mobility, I guess. Hold on one sec. Let me just place that for there. I'm going to see our if we're not grounded logic. Spawning, we're not exploded. Where is our grounded logic? If not grounded, we're getting here. So I think I need to say up here, I'm going to set the viewport to the default wings up, but that will get overwritten by this if we're jumping. And it's right before jumping gets set to false, so it should have the effect of setting it for 1 frame and then flushing it. And then the next time jumping will be false. Well, it'll still be, if it's in the air, it'll default to the upwards one, the next frame. So that might work. But we need to set this as the 7th. 1. It might be 6. Let me see if 6 is the right one for that. Because if it's with times 6 itself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the left side will be the start of our 7th. So I think 6 is right. But we need to set this. If we're in the air, we set it to our 5th one, which is our wings up. So let's see. You know what? I'm going to make the jumps a little faster so we have more flapping. Okay. Just going to put a couple values in there, some fast, some longer. We're looking for the downwards flap upon their jumping. I'm not seeing it. So that means either the viewport set is getting overridden. Oh god. Oh god. Let me just try to say, like, hey, whatever. This is just if we're spawning. No, this one. Okay. I'm just gonna say right here, I'm gonna set our vulture sprite to the viewport of our 7th, the beginning of our 7th frame. And I'm going to see if that changes them all to be downwards. Okay, yeah. So that is the code for the downwards flap. I think it's just overriding too fast. So that was the right code for that viewport. We're just not getting... Oh, look at this. No, never mind. Okay. Yeah. It's almost like... You know, we need to set this if we are jumping. And then... That's only one frame though. That might not be long enough. I'm gonna put in our speeds a little bit less of a little bit slower. They're not flapping, man. They're not flapping. They should be flapping. Like, I could see the DY being applied, so this is happening, but it's not changing the viewport. So this jumping flag gets true, whatever the... And you know what? We don't even want... It doesn't make any sense to me why it really wasn't working like that, because we even had it wrong. This jumping flag gets true every time the jump counter is still greater than 0, so it'll be true the whole time. So anytime our jump counter isn't elapsed, we should have had our 6th viewport. So that it's telling me that our viewport's getting overwritten somewhere. We are, look at, this is where we're overriding it. Because if our DX is not 0 and we're self-grounded, okay, no, never mind. Right here. Oh God, wait, hold on. Okay, this is actually it. This is it. Fuck. Okay. So we also have a flapped. Oh God. Okay. So I did try to do this. I did try to... Fuck, I'm not gonna figure this out. I'm not gonna figure this out today. Basically, we're saying if we're in the air, we're setting our default viewport to be wings up. And if we're jumping, if our jumping timer hasn't elapsed to 0, wait, if self-jumping, jump timer gets 0. So if we are jumping, our jump timer gets nullified, so that's probably why we're constantly sinking all the time. And then if we're flapped, we're gonna set our downwards wing, and then we're gonna increase our jump timer? What the fuck are we doing? We do need flapped to get false, but let me just see what taking out those lines kind of changed for us. Fuck, man. Still no flapping. Oh, yeah. If self-jumping, flapped is true. So why would we even use flapped? Like, why did we... Like, I think we had flapped so that we can say, once flapped is true, start a flapped timer and draw the viewport for the flapped timer before you wipe it to false. Let me just see if our self.flapped is even changing. Where is our flapped? Here. So let us go to our play state. We'll, instead of printing our vulture 3, we'll actually print whether or not it's flapped. So vulture 3.flapped to boolean, and it's X, that's wrong. We'll just put, the flapped boolean inside there, converted to a string. So now we can monitor if vulture 3's flapped is getting set to either true or false. Help us debug. It's never getting set to true. So that makes sense why it wouldn't be working. Flapped gets true if we're self-jumping and we're not self-grounded. So why do we... If we're not self-grounded, it's our ostrich. We look for the grounded... The grounded logic. How do we determine whether or not we're grounded as a vulture? We check for the check grounded. Okay, and check grounded just sees if there is a platform right beneath the ostrich, and if we are, we're grounded. If not, but you know what? I don't know if we do it check grounded with the ground level, or do we? Check grounded platform. Do we ever check grounded for ground? Yeah, we do. Oh shit, man. I'm already stumped. But basically, something's going wrong with, like, what if we print out instead of flapped but jumping? And then see what that looks like. See, jumping's getting overwritten to false somewhere. So where is that happening? Right here, maybe? Yeah. So what if we only have jumping gets false upon... Oh god. Oh god. Here. When do we reset We reset jump counter here. Jump counter smaller than 0. Okay. Fuck, dude, it's so hard to imagine this. So this is interesting. This is a little backwards. The jumping is triggered after the jump counter. So once the jump counter counts down to 0, it's going to say, okay, we're jumping now. Give us a random seed and set our jump counter for the next jump to be a certain time. But we never set it to false. When we would only set the... Okay, I got an idea. We just need to say here, like, if we're jumping, then we're gonna decrement a thing called flap counter or something. So flap counter gets itself minus delta time, and if self jumping and flap counter, nope, hold on. It's like we need to say, as soon as we trigger a jump, we also trigger a flap counter to be set equal to, let's say, 0.3. And will give us this flap counter up here. Flap counter is a terrible name for this. But basically we were saying, as soon as the jump is triggered, we set our flap counter to 0.3, give us a new jump counter. So this line of code will only execute once until the next jump comes out. Then, while jumping is true, we're going to decrement our flap counter. Then if our flap counter is smaller than 0, that's when we know we need to swap back to not jumping anymore. And jumping is just the flag that we're using to control whether or not, or what our how long our flap, goddamn, yeah, when our flap is going on. So if we are jumping here, if jumping is true, see, look, this is where we were messing up because we had this jumping false was overriding everything. So now we only set jumping to false if it's smaller than our jump counter. Our jump counter is about 1/3 of a second. So every time we jump for 1/3 of a second, it should flap, then go back to wings up. I mean, that's the whole goal. And it looks like our 125 flap counter is a nil. Oh, because this needs to be in reference to self, because each ostrich needs its own flap counter. Okay, let's try that. I'm looking for that boolean to turn true on this. There we go. So 0.3 is way, see, this is great. So see, all the true is when we're flapping, when jumping is true. But we need less dy. And then we need our flap counter to be a lot quicker as well. So we'll actually just set this to 0.1. 1/10 of a second. But then we need to give our dy a lot less. Well, not a lot less, but we're already pretty little, but where do we give our dy for jumping? Here, if we're jumping. Here, let's do this about half as much. And we'll see now. Looking for that flap. Come on. Shit, man. Set back to upwards viewport. So we need to set our viewport according to whether or not we're flapped or not. According to whether or not our flap counter, where's our flap counter? So if we're jumping, see, I would think that this thing, no, this is wrong. We're not setting a default. Viewport. Wait, yeah, we are. If we're not grounded, our default viewport is up. But we need to say also if not, or if flap counter, self.flap counter, if self.flap counter, wait, hold on. Let me just find that other flap counter and make sure we didn't mess anything up. Okay, so basically we need a default viewport, which it was here. But we're gonna say if flap counter is greater than 0, then set our viewport to be the flap downwards. And then otherwise, we're gonna want our wings up. Aerial flap, which is this one. And then we're going to double check and make sure we're not overwriting these somewhere. Some other logic in our viewport, which we are here, we're saying, because it's not that if we're jumping, we want this. It's that if we're jumping and our flap amount isn't, whatever. But see if that gets us the flap finally. Come on. Fuckers. Oh god. Yeah, I think I screwed myself. A little earlier. So what if we put wherever this thing is? Not grounded. If our flap counter is bigger than 0, set it to downward flap. Okay, so maybe the culprit honestly still is that our flap counter is too high a number compared to how long we're actually we'll jump a little less often. And I took down our flap counter, so motherfucker. Okay. I'm not gonna figure this out tonight. We got, we're working on it. I'm gonna just have to, tomorrow when I'm having more energy, I'm gonna have to scour through all of our jump counter, all of our, and this is like, our jump counter shouldn't be decrementing at all times. It should only be decrementing upon a jump. So it gets instantiated at a certain number, sure, but then it shouldn't be there. So we need to move all that. Then we need to check the order of operations. Like, does it make sense that we're testing the jumping here before all of our platform collisions and everything? Which I think could introduce a lot of problems. So maybe we do have to just move some code around. And then, yeah, be a little more thorough in looking what exactly is happening. I just don't have too much energy right now, but I tried. I programmed some today, so I'm gonna call it a good effort because I was having not much energy. We're gonna commit everything with a message saying starting to fix vulture jump AI. Okay, and we're gonna get P to our origin main branch. All right, man. So tomorrow we're gonna continue our work today, and hopefully by the end of tomorrow we're gonna be having more flappy action instead of the only downward flaps. But yeah, thanks for tuning in.